might be haunted, you know? So it's like,
And we're live.
Hey, folks.
Are we
How's it-
live and unmuted? That's
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
All right. How's everybody doing out there? It's Thursday. We're back after taking some time off, although I heard that last night there was a bit of a HGMO that was played among some of the players. So good times there. Glad to be back. I'm recovered mostly from PAX East, which cast some sort of feeble mind spell on me because I literally would sit in the convention hall and be like, I don't know what
They're
words
saying
are.
we're muted?
Oh, we're still muted?
Are we?
Oh,
No.
I see
Oh.
levels.
No,
Let
we're
us
not.
know,
We're
chat.
muted.
We're not
They're just
muted.
messing with us.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, all right.
I
I'm
can
back.
hear us in the stream.
I mean, like, you guys can hear us. Stop messing with us. April Fool's was Monday.
Okay.
Rude.
Okay, cool.
Goodness. All right. Well, I'm recovered. Everybody else is recovered, I hope. Rance, how you doing?
Well, Jim, it was great seeing you at PAX East. It was great seeing Anna. It was great playing HGMO with Josh and Lindy last night. And it's also great to catch up on Tales from the Mist with all the other Mistwalkers on Friday with TK.
Look at you.
so- I've got everybody else's plugs. Hi, everybody. My name's Grant. I'm happy to be here playing Gilded Goblin tonight. And maybe I should take it easier in my life so I know what plan I'm concocting when these sessions begin. Because I'm about to go into full improvised mode, and this may blow up right in my face, which would be poetic justice for my character.
Yes, that would be very poetic. It was good to see you as well at PAX, and to enjoy a little gaming there. Lindy, how have you been? And what's going on?
Hi, I'm Lindy, and I love old houses. If you have an old house, you should show it to me. But anyways, did that just to see your face.
Why are you like this?
Very special.
Just
And
with my fingers.
I'm be playing Mer today. Tieflin Bard. She's one of Ellie's moms. It's great. She's not thrilled with this plan that they're going through, but she's gonna stick it out probably. That's what Bekroithic and Ellie want, so she's just gonna stick it out.
Yeah,
Tired parent.
I mean, right? Like at this point, you're in for a penny, in for a pound. And the Axe Dreamer, he seemed pretty set in this. He's like, yeah, they kind of expected it.
I have a cubic gate in my pocket just in case. I'm fine.
Just like a get out of jail free card.
That's what you get for giving us artifacts from rare items and all that nonsense.
Listen, I wouldn't give it to you guys if I didn't want it used at some point. So we'll see. I don't know. You guys will. I mean, it's already been used a couple of times to take some NPCs out on dates. So
It's true.
that's
And to take one out and say,
And to take one out.
yes, that's true. And to take one out. So it's great. TK, how are you doing?
Hello, Jim. I'm going to turn up the light on my computer.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop. Delightful. And I'm probably going to take my glasses off because these are anti-glare and it's giving me a headache. I'm doing very well, thank you. I play Icky, and I forgot that Gildan had opened a permanent gate to hell.
Yes.
But it also isn't my problem, so...
Right. Well, right now it's all tied up in litigation. So.
Yeah, it's great for me. Like, I don't... It's like, well, I'm not going to fuck with that later. Yeah, I'm just very excited for us to leave this place that I was so adamant about coming to.
Well, I like whenever I sort of can describe what the place is like, and it seems revolting or horrific.
No, I loved all that.
Yeah, and you just want to flee. Like that's the sweet.
Yeah, no, I loved all of the horrific stuff. I love that it's the city of ghouls and everything. But then we got there, and these mummies are like, "Oh my god, you're like the chosen one," and I'm like,
Yikes!
"Ooh, yikes!"
Now you're kind of like responsible for rescuing
God,
it from
like
personal hell.
Like I had to like do stuff, and I just I've got so much going on, and
Yeah.
I wish it weren't this, but it apparently is. Like,
Yeah.
couldn't we just like murder someone instead? Like, that's more my speed.
Yeah. I
But I
mean,
guess we're big damn heroes, so.
I mean, you guys can. I mean, if there's murdering to be done, I'm sure that you'll find a way to accomplish.
I 100% will. You better believe it. 100% will.
Anna, how's it going? It was great to see you this last weekend.
I know. I met you and I met Grant IRL and Marcy. So many awesome people. And yes, I know you've all been asking. They're both as handsome in person as they are in real life.
Nobody asked that. Oh, I mean, myself by.
Dad, you're embarrassing me. But yeah, it was a good PAX. I didn't get sick. High five, knock on wood, in case I But yeah, but I'm doing good. I'm eating pancakes.
Excellent.
Off to you, Josh. You're looking dapper.
Yeah.
That bow tie, you're glowing.
Yes.
You are. There's just something about you, Josh. That's like
the light outside.
It's a breath of fresh air to see your face.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
I'm happy to be here. Still working with my camera. Sorry about the vomit. Yeah, feeling good. I don't know what's going on in my life, so I have nothing to say.
Well, that's all right.
Okay.
Sometimes that's okay.
I'm letting this speak for itself.
You do you, man. You still playing Denizen?
Wait, do I get to pick? Who would I be? Who would I be playing?
The last time I heard from you, you had made like 5 characters.
Oh, Jim, 5 is low.
Today.
I could pull up in the folder and show you how many I've made. Both 11th levels and also lower levels in case we do something else.
Just in case you just have one for every level.
Including a couple gems that I am going to use at some point soon.
All right, I'm glad. I'm excited to be surprised. That's great. I'm glad that we're back and playing again this week. Every time we take a week off, I'm always just like thrown off my game. It's like, oh my goodness. But before we get started, I'd like to thank Tabletop Loot for everybody at PAX East who managed to get a little dice. Thank Tabletop Loot. They supply those dice that we were able to pass out, and you can even get a discount on your next order using WebGame15 from these guys. So check them out and go get some dice. All that in the lull between holidays. Pick up some Tabletop Loot dice or Dice Cage or everything else they got. The last time we played, you guys were whisked through some otherworldly realm to the presence of an archlich which had made its lair in the undercity of this ruined once imperial capital. And there the party was like eventually reunited, and they uncovered some truths about the place that they were venturing in. The Axe Dreamer acquired some of his items that you'd only seen before in the frescoes and other decorations in the bathhouse. Although he seems sort of not as excited or satisfied to reacquire them as might be expected. And Ellie engaged in a bit of just hugged a lich and seemed as though to provide a bit of comfort to someone who's struggled for quite a while against this great injustice and evil. It was also there that Mur sort of confronted the imp, who was so far appointed himself as a bit of a secretary and go-between for the various factions that Mur is spying for. And managed to get some information that he'd so far kept from Mur out of him, an invitation to join the inner circle of the Fellowship, and that representatives from the Fellowship were en route to both discuss the matter with Mur and assist. And they did otherwise did not specify how long that would take or where exactly they were. And as all of this kind of came together, I think somebody raised the question, maybe it was Icky, of what the actual plan was, and that was when I think that was when something started to come together. There was a talk of gathering allies, researching more about the spell that Tangrith used to maintain his control over the people here, and also to perhaps visit some of the scavengers and the like that actually live here and see if they can't help out in some way. So you guys have just finished resting. Gildan has traveled in his dreams back through time to see the events that sort of led to the fall of this place and the calamity and disasters that occurred afterwards, and wakes up from this sort of spell of time travel and divination. And that's sort of where we'll pick up. You guys are about to head on your separate ways, and we will start from there. I think you're back at Memnon's. You've got the skiff, and it's otherwise sort of midday.
I think Mur was going to try to schmooze that one big nerd and research in the library.
Mm-hmm. Gorosto was
Yes.
Was the big nerd's name, the big spell nerd.
Yeah, I think I have it written down. I just got to open up my notes.
Yeah,
Gorosto, big
okay.
nerd. That's my notes right there.
Boom. And then
I took notes, guys. They're accurate.
That's great. I've stopped taking notes altogether because of the great work that TK does.
I'm officially not good for any other campaign now because I've been spoiled. They're like, show me your notes. I was like,
I found that I actually take more detailed notes in the other campaigns because of TK's notes. But they're all handwritten because I just.
Yeah, I can't. I have so many
It's
notebooks.
not
with
useful to
notes
anybody
and
but me.
campaigns. 'Cause-
I'm just an analog kind of guy.
I wish you guys could see my crappy notes for mists, because it's just like tree, demon, question mark, Taroka card. That's literally what my DM notes look like.
It's like Charlie's writings from Always Sunny, which is pictograms.
It's a spider web of just like some smiley faces. I think I literally wrote Constantina plus Vasily inside of a heart. I don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta decipher those. Big mood. So you've woken up from this, or you have the opportunity to take a rest. Whether you slept or not is up to you. And as you're heading out, it was going to be Mur, as I recall, it's going to be Mur and Ellie heading to this library where Gorosto had said, hey, if you need to get in touch with me, I can usually be found here. Ninizen and Memnon, who are going to find the other servitors. And if I understand you correctly, for Ninizen, that they were wondering basically, would they be willing to join the fight and help overthrow Tangrith? Is that basically Ninizen's aim?
Exactly there. Yeah.
Okay. And then Iki to the scavenger camp, where the people sort of live here, who you met right last time at the bathhouse. You met some of them. And I'm assuming that's where Iki would pick up the trail, because when you were there yourself, you found their tracks and things like that. So the question for me then is which group's Gildan going with? And does anybody do anything before that?
So I need a check to see if Ninizen, if they're going to ask me to go with them, because they've done a pretty good job of keeping me on a short leash, and I don't want them to be upset. Gildan goes walking off someplace.
That's really kind of Gildan to, think about that. You think about their feelings first. I think they're going to be okay if you go.
Okay.
But where are you going?
That's a good question, because if I was being asked to go with you, I might have some persuasive ways with servitors. Otherwise, they might, be like, there he is, the one that left us in the desert. And, like, that's the end of Gildan. I kind of want to tag along with Myrrh, and I promise not to misbehave. My eyes aren't looking up for spells to misbehave right now, I promise.
Guys, she's acting weird today.
I don't.
Yeah, she's acting weird.
What is happening?
All right.
Well, here's the other thing. I've got to figure out how to summon Ling and convince Ling to get here. I might even try to figure out if I can get in contact with Corsica and convince Corsica to get involved. I think I want to bring in all of our allies for this, our false allies, all the baddies, and the Medusa. And, like, I want, like, a triple strike.
I'm fine with bringing the Medusa.
None of these people are allies. They are the opposite of allies. They are aggressive opposites of allies.
But not towards Gildan. They have all shown kindness and affection towards Gildan at different times, from Corsica, Ling, and the Medusa.
I'm fine with the Medusa.
I was kissed by the. I was kissed.
Let me keep the Kroithic.
Ling and I wrestled naked.
Yes, okay, but affection from Corsica?
Never.
I was able. Well, her and I did have several weeks together before I betrayed her.
Oh.
I don't
We
know
did.
if that's affection.
Yeah.
What was that?
Do you remember when we were traveling to the
After she almost brutally murdered Myrrh?
when I guest spelled her?
Oh yeah. There was that. There was
When she was geshed,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was a guest. Yeah.
But leading up to that, there was a lot leading up to that. I was alone for a long time, and my only ally was my tiefling boyfriend in Corsica.
Yeah, Thumbtack.
Yeah.
Thumbtack, we find. But I'm thinking a Medusa army, Corsica, and Ling, triple strike.
You have A and Z, but to make alphabet soup, you need all of the letters that come between A and Z. So you have, I want to army with these people, and then we'll have army with these people, but there's no, like, how will I get any of these people to allow to be together?
Well, I gotta work that out in my head. I haven't figured it out. I know what pieces I need to put on the board. That's why I'm scanning my spells right now. I need a little bit of time because I got a lot.
I'm just curious. Also, does anybody remember who Lang was like cast into?
Yeah,
I know that you did. Was it Thumbtack?
it wasn't Thumbtack, but it was someone like Thumbtack. It was a tiefling body.
Where is that guy, by the way?
I don't recall.
Don't know. He's
Oh yeah, he was
bugged
in
out.
He was
Yeah.
in
Double
the
camp.
permanent gate to hell town.
Right. That was when. Yeah, that was when it was. Yeah. So at least, but
Seems
for
like a
one,
problem
who would be
for
the
you,
closest?
I just need a little bit of time to go through this and figure it out. Right now, what I was literally doing was if I cast Tiny Servant as many times I can, as many levels as possible, can I just have it like rain tiny servants and like cause a bunch of havoc? I don't know yet, because I'd have like 40 of them, and they would just be like, you know, it'd be like that scene from Beauty and the Beast when like they invade the castle. I'm talking chubby teapots, chip glasses.
Yeah, just like inanimate pieces of rock.
This is why I wanted to tag along with Myrrh and Innocent. I got nothing yet.
You could always hang out with me. I'm gonna go hang out with a bunch of criminals. You
That's
love
true.
criminals.
Yeah,
You
that's
love
probably
criminals. Thank you.
good. I'll tag along.
Guys, nobody will notice.
I'll tag along with Hickey.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go
All
talk
right.
to some criminals.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's do it.
Plus, Icky will be 100% the easiest person for you to slip away from.
That's true.
Icky
And
will
that's-
watch
that's
you
nice.
leave and
And
just
that-
be like,
that
"Oh,
made
he was too fast for me."
me-
I'm like, oh, Willy Wonka. No, stop, don't.
No,
Right.
don't do it. Because like in the end, like Icky still has at least a little bit of familial affection for Gildan because he saved her daughter. So she doesn't want him to die, but she's also kind of like, it is funny when he does things that nobody likes. I laugh.
Yes.
Chaotic neutral.
All right. Well, it's a nice pairing because that way it's everybody gets as a buddy. And then I guess Axe Dreamer will accompany probably Myrrh. Just he probably feels self-conscious.
Oh,
They're
You
just
should go with the mom that likes him.
yeah. Like because he's never gonna get Icky's approval. He desperately wants it.
No one ever will.
Yeah. Just when will they learn? In that case, all right. Icky or Ellie and Myrrh, take him off into the skiff. The library, basically, you were given directions to it sort of from that first palace that you were at in the market ward that you were in. It's not far from where you probably stayed for a while. It's because I think somebody had mentioned that you could head back to Memnon's. So from where you are, you're sort of like, you don't have to like backtrack or anything like that. To get to the bathhouse, though, you'd have to pass through a couple of other wards. So anyway, if that's where you're trying to pick up the trail from the scavengers, it would take some time to like walk across the city and get there. And the same for like getting to the Wastelander encampment. So everybody's got facing a bit of a trek across the city, just in different directions. And I think maybe give Gildan some time to think. So maybe like I think Ninizen, the Wastelander encampment is pretty close, and it doesn't really take you long, you and Memnon long to get there.
Okay. By the way, is this one of those situations where like we're in bad guys, home turf, and we decide to split the party because this is a horror movie, and this is when most of us die, except for the virtuous one, which would be, Ellie. So Ellie will survive this, but this is a bad idea. Who cares? We've already done it. Yes. So yeah, Ninizen goes with Memnon to the court, you said?
And there's an enclave. Like those Wastelanders that you met at the court yesterday. They sleep somewhere, presumably, and they invited you. Technically, the pair of Drow have a permanent residence here. They're sort of ambassadors of a sort, and they host other Wastelanders. You were invited there. That's where they said they'd stay.
Okay.
Did you head straight there, or is there a detour or anything that you take?
At this point, I think they're very focused. I'm not going to get into their concerns or anything out of context, but they want to get help, and they don't necessarily trust the other servitors, but they might trust them to fight together, like old time's sake. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so as you approach so you're basically there, like you don't have high hopes, but it's worth a shot.
Kind of, yeah.
Is there a particular angle that you're working on? Are you discussing any of this with Ninizen? Because he's otherwise pretty quiet and keeps to himself.
I'm gonna ask Memnon. What are you gonna do when we defeat him?
When we defeat him, I suppose we'll move on. I was more interested in some of the more perspectives of the Wastelanders who were in his court than Tegrith himself. Many of them have come here because they find a certain freedom of thought, I think, or at the very least, encouraging of magical experiment, using the magic that they find here different ways. It's been enlightening. I had no wish to stay permanently.
Okay. I'm just wondering, or we're just wondering what stake that the other servitors have in fighting for this place. You see what we're getting at?
Yes. What is it why they would assist in this endeavor?
Mm-hmm.
The sense that I get from them is that that they are here to make a difference. There's a deception on their part, a willingness to see or at least be perceived as self-serving and out for something else. But I sense in them a willingness to do what is right and to make a difference.
I hope you're right.
I hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is worth pursuing. And certainly they have no love for this demon.
Good.
So you sort of does this sort of like reassure Ninizen in a way?
They believe that Memnon has enough of influence, like a social influence, that if he's down for this and he thinks they're down for this, then even if they're on the fence,
okay. Gotcha. So you arrive and it's another one of these sort of fortified mansions. It's been, looks like, rebuilt several times and as actually sees regular use. You can tell that like people live here and it's bustling for the city. And indeed, there's probably a group of about 20 or so wastelanders, a little bit less than was in the court yesterday. But it's the group of other servitors. I'm not sure that the leader of them ever, or at least the one that spoke to you, would ever give you his name.
I don't necessarily think so.
Okay. We'll get to that then. And there's the pair of drow. There's a sort of a Piscine looking humanoid, bloated and not like waterlogged, but just sort of a slack and looseness to its skin. But it sort of like hunches about Gross. And is sort of present and one of the many of them that you've seen before. The pair of drow are there. There's several household attendants, but it's mostly servitors and then a handful of wastelanders. You're invited in past the defenses and gate.
Okay, good. Curious about when you say Piscine, do you mean like a fish flag?
Yeah. Definitely sort of like a bulging-eyed, sort of
like he's seen too much sun.
It's sort of like a wide mouth, like needle teeth. But it's also just sort of like awkwardly flopping around and walking. You can tell it tries to stay wet, and there's like a wet footprints sort of that trail around it. But it's not like it probably needs a refresh. And it's just sort of like awkwardly making its way around this sort of sitting room where they all are. They're sort of having like a lunch. It's midday. It's hot. They're all inside, taking it easy. And,
Memnon, why don't you go talk to the group real quick? We have something we need to do.
Certainly. He makes his way.
I'm gonna go over to Floppy.
I'm going over
to Floppy.
All right.
And I'm gonna. He's like, this is not like a ghost or a zombie that I can tell, right?
No, like this. I mean, it smells foul, but
it smells like fresh foul.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. I Denizen's kind of, I don't know. I've always got a weird vibe as I've kind of filled in his head.
Hmm.
He's kind of antisocial, so he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. So it
But
walks over to this
yeah.
fish has like, it's got like some sort of like pole arm, like maybe it's a trident, or it's at the very least like a frog gigger, right? Just some sort of hooked spear thing. It's sort of like scale. You can't like maybe scale. Maybe it's just like its own scales have hardened or mutated or something over the parts of it. But it has sort of just a primordial sort of fishiness to it. Other than being about a 6 foot or maybe a little bit shorter hunched humanoid, bluish green.
So they're gonna approach it and awkwardly say like, "What's your name?"
Yeah. Garmson.
Oh. Hello.
What do you want?
Just want to know about, who you are.
Yeah. What about it? So they're like eating other things. So, like, clearly not lacking in social grace as well. Everybody else around here, a few people are sort of paying attention to the two of you, but he's just kind of clearly not paying much attention and stuffing his face full of some sort of gross meat thing.
You seem like a fish out. Not a fish. No. You seem like you're out of place.
Yeah, it's dry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
How dry are you?
He kind of like, or just sort of like looks around, just pretty dry. Like, are you trying to? What is this?
Do you live here?
No.
Why are you here?
There to, just talk to these people. What is it? What business is it of yours? And you can see he's like getting agitated and starting to like, not like, it like starts to wiggle its little tendrils and feelers at you. Playing games.
No. I found some. We found something one time, and we weren't sure what it was for. Who could really gain use for it? Have you ever been looking for something and you can't find the thing you're looking for, and then later on you find it and you have no use for it?
You seem to have gently stumped him.
Okay.
Curious, less like hostile now. You have his attention, but he also seems confused. What is Netizen's like angle? Like, what are you trying? Are you trying to get this guy as an ally, or like get him riled up, or?
Well, possibly as an ally, but I'm going to take out my my water bottle of endless water, my decanter of endless water.
Mm-hmm.
And Denizen's going to just kind of, we found this. And while it's very useful, we feel like maybe you would have more use for it. And he's they're going to speak the command word. I think it's command word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm going to use the I'm guessing freshwater, but no, maybe salt. I'll try freshwater first. I'm just gonna have just freshwater start to just.
You're just gonna like activate like the fire hose, or just
No, just like we'll say stream?
Geyser.
the geyser.
Mhm.
Geyser.
Just blast him. Is this refreshing?
Are you not refreshed?
Yeah, right. Is it within one? Pour that until the start of your next turn. Okay, yeah. Weird. You'd have to keep saying the command word. Interesting item. Yeah, I'm gonna give him.
You're gonna cut out there for a minute. Are you? So you're.
We're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
All right. So you've shown that you've got this like item that can produce an endless stream of water, and
Mm-hmm.
it's peaked. It's just like just yeah, that's good. What do you want? Like, come on, stop messing around here. Get to the point. He seemed like he's like both eyeing the item and also like getting in Innocent's face.
We've never seen anyone like you, and I don't think maybe you've seen anyone like you here. So you might want to leave. Yes, at some point.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Further south, down the rivers.
Oh. Okay. Well, I think that you could use this more than me. That's all.
So you're just gonna give it to him?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's sort of like he'll like take it, and then it's just sort of. I mean, if you walk away, he's just kind of like staring at you.
I'll tell him the command words.
Okay. Right. Otherwise, he's just sort of like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody just gives things. And he just is. He really walks. He'll eventually walk away muttering to himself.
Okay.
The other than that, Memnon will motion you over, and we'll see about this. Servitors will have their conversation in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping over to let's see. Really kind of like Icky and Gildan have the furthest to travel through the city. So I'm kind of curious if did y'all make any plans or like preparations, or were y'all just going over, just going straight there?
I think Icky would have used the crystal ball to look as far as she can through the city and look for signs of criminal element types.
Okay.
Rabble rousers, so to speak.
Yeah. And
Disgruntled masses.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I got 3. Yeah, so like if you sort of start your search, yeah, I think like there's definitely one nearby the bathhouse, and
Baths.
yeah, there's still a bunch of fresh water there. There's sort of like in the same sort of ward, there's a series of dugout cellars and several other just below the surface, like a little network of rooms and basements and the like that has a small encampment of them. This time of day, there's just the soft glow of a firelight that gives it away. But through the crystal ball, you can see probably at least half a dozen of these scrawny, sort of half-starved wastelanders that are coming and going.
Okay. Do I see anything about them, since I'm using this spell and it lets me see things as though I were there? Do I see any like uniformity to them? Like, I am specifically looking for gang activity. This is the post-apocalypse. There's
Right.
gotta be gangs.
There's
Warriors.
There's definitely a hierarchy there, and at least in the one of the cellars that has the most of these scavengers with them, there's like a what you take to be a kind of a grizzled hobgoblin woman who seems to be the others defer to.
Mm-hmm.
They all look. I mean, they don't have like any. They don't really have like any distinguishing markings or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But as you look closer at them, it's difficult to tell which ones, like just through visuals, difficult to tell which ones are living and which ones are dead because many of them have like nasty wounds on them. Some of them are like infected and they look like they really are in need of rest and healing, and others of them just look starved. So it's just difficult to tell.
Any writing on the walls to indicate like territory, things like that?
Mostly on the walls, it looks like there are various glyphs, like crudely drawn wards or minor magics. And there is there's a series of like, say, markings, what you'd take to be like, scavenger markings, like safe to sleep here or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Recognize the individual signs, but they look like that.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about like thieves' camp, but I know enough about like banditry in the wilderness to.
Right. Some of it you recognize as being just like traditional wastelander markings.
Okay. Yeah. Icky would then immediately point that out to Gildan.
Okay.
All right.
Crystal ball, you probably see it.
Yeah, Gildan's gonna open his backpack. He's just gonna turn it upside down and he's gonna start shaking it. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna see like a little myrrh that he's carved out of a little wooden body, and it has like an apple core head with like 2 raisin eyes. That's myrrh. Sorry, I didn't do a good job on her. There's like a little venison that he made out of corn on a cob. Oh, these are snacks for later, but right now they're my.
Why do you dress your snacks like your friends?
Less likely to eat them that way. Yeah, there's an Ellie one. The Ellie one is actually a really nice doll that it looks like he took his time making. It has nice purpley straw hair.
Icky purposefully ignores the Ellie one.
Yeah. The Icky one is kind of like a converted armadillo skeleton. It's the best I could do. But
Icky sees that and is actually a little flattered.
Yeah, I worked hard. Yeah. And then there's just all these various odds and ends. There's a Ling one that's made out of an old sock. There's
this is not a snack. Would you eat this?
Depends on how hungry I was. And I pile up 22 different of these various puppets. Mm-hmm. And then I spend a plethora of spell slots on Tiny Servant to animate a 22 puppet army to follow me around. Come, children. Carry me.
Army of the little people?
Yeah, I was just thinking this is kind of like a Babes in the Woods Winnie the Pooh moment where it's just kind of like, well, think of it this way. They have blind sight for 60 feet. They're immune to a bunch of conditions. They're not very intense, but there's a lot of them. And they're kind of like, they're our gang. This might draw some people out to challenge us for turf.
What
Give them snap off.
How long does that take?
Not too long. I believe it's an action for each one. Let me double check.
I think so too. It's just like less than half an hour.
Yeah. So a minute. Yeah, less than a half hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to last all day, essentially.
Well, they're going to have to because we have to walk to the other side of the city.
They're going to march along with you. Animates.
At least they don't get tired.
Yeah, Icky, if Icky can do one more thing, then she will go ahead and summon creatures.
Okay. How many is Icky going to summon?
The most that she can.
All right. So
8 1/4 rating.
8 1/4 rating.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Where's my? There we go. Monsters. So you'll. That's only going to be an hour though. So do you wait like?
I'll wait till we're closer. Yeah.
Till wait till closer. Okay. So Tiny Servant's last 8 hours.
Yeah. I'll just say I hold it until we're, I don't know, 10 minutes out.
Okay, cool.
Because it would not do to do it an hour before and then just be like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Oops.
When we get there.
All right, let's see here. So walking across the all right, just a second. You're walking across the cityscape, and it's, you know, much like you've experienced in the last day or so. Most of it is ruined. This time of day, it doesn't seem as though anyone's really out. You're walking across sort of like the hottest time of day, and it's a largely just sort of dusty streets and ruined blocks that you pass through. But you get to the ward in which the this encampment is, around the sort of like around the first rays, sort of like twilight, starting to as the sun starts to set, and you can see that there's sort of like that firelight off the wall, sort of everything you saw on the crystal wall is there. And are you guys approaching sort of like in a stealthy manner, or are you approaching without worrying about being seen?
I've got.
Well, I mean, they are tiny, right? Like they can hide.
Well, that's true, but I
Oh.
also have my summoned
also animals.
creatures, which I believe are. I feel like that. Yeah, that is concentration. So I can't do pass without trace and keep them.
Yeah.
So you know, if I can't make my summoned creatures quiet, then there's really no point in me being stealthy as well.
Gotcha. Let's see. What kind of creatures do you summon? Give me a. Gosh, there's a lot of these. Give me like just give me a D20 roll.
Okay.
Comes out on the list.
A 16.
16.
What have you done?
These are so like they're there's these sort of like squat, kind of lumpy looking creatures. They've got sort of a warty, pebbly like skin, and I mean, they're giant frogs, but
Yes.
they're like, you know, desert toad sort of.
I love them.
Yeah,
The toads of war.
Yeah.
Toads.
Like nasty little claws on their feet or something.
I love them
Yeah.
more than I've loved anything in my life.
More than-
Standing leap. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Bites. They can swallow people. Oh, well, if they're small, I hope we can run into some kids.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So as you guys approach with
I love them.
8 frogs, 22, so like 30 minions, the 32 of you approach the Wastelander encampment and easily outnumber them 2-1. They sort of like, if you show up in that kind of force, then they all of them kind of walk out to where the entrance of this camp is and meet you at the edge of it. And it's this hobgoblin woman there.
It's a hobgoblin woman.
What does she think? I haven't seen you around here. She says, she's like, what's her name? Give a good name.
Icky and Gildan had been discussing their plan on the way there, and Icky puts up a hand. Silence in the presence of the Goblin King.
Oh.
I float above the ground.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you want then? I've never seen any Goblin King around here. You must be new.
I am ancient of days, existing since before time immemorial. Prettiest flame around my head because I got to be on brand.
Well, we don't have much if you're after food, but
Go and get food. And I point to the town.
So you're asking to produce food for you?
It's the Feast of Gildenmas.
He was unaware of Feast of Gildenmas.
Yeah, I was as well until now. I gotta name my holidays.
Oh God. Icky thought that we were recruiting gang members.
I thought I was
a revolution.
Yeah.
But now Icky's a little.
No, yeah, I look at Icky. It's like I gotta get them. I gotta get them to start like knocking buildings over and like breaking and entering, raising a panic.
What's
That's what I'm telling them. I ask them if I provide some food for them, will they give allegiance to me?
Oh, food is well, yeah. Well, if it's good food, we don't eat anything that's been fouled up.
You ever tried some Gildan muffins?
No.
All right.
No.
The puppet army gathers around and they form, and I tap each and every one of them on the head, and a Gildan muffin appears on top of it, and I'm like, partake the bread of Gildan. This is just create food and water.
They'll eat if you produce a bunch of food. Had this much food in quite a while. It's a. Are you like explicit like feed you know if we feed you will you fight for us? Is that your pitch?
We haven't gotten there yet.
We're not there. First we want full bellies, and we're making friends.
Please allow a few minutes for pageantry, Jim.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
And while they partake, I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to tell them the creation myth.
Icky did not agree to this. This was
no.
And honestly, Icky doesn't know what she expected.
I don't think Gildan does either, but this is how he proselytizes.
It's like,
sit down and let me tell you about how great I am.
I do not know why I thought this would be different from every other town we have been to,
But if you think about the majesty of this, we have all these animated puppets. Gildan's essentially floating just above the air with a flaming head, presenting food for them. I am an angelic creature to these poor souls. And I think I can religious fervor.
I feel like I thought I had tricked Gildan into doing something productive with me, but in fact, Gildan
you got
tricked me.
Oh, the last thing
that at this,
the last thing that would
9 intelligence, and I'm like, Nikki.
Don't forget my negative charisma. So it's like essentially it's like plan B is like I'm gonna summon a massive insect plague in their camp to like send them running out.
So I mean, like they're eating the food. You're over here kind of giving this pitch about something. Presumably, you're an angelic being that's here to
telling them the story of Axe Dreamer and his chastity tale.
Yeah, and they sort of like, I mean, they know the one you're talking about because they've seen they go to get drinks in the bathhouse, and they're like, oh yeah, we've seen that one.
Yeah.
He's back. He has come. I am his harbinger.
Well, what does that have to do with us?
You are the chosen ones. You are the disciples. The gods have foretold it.
They look around at their shabby selves. I mean, they look like, looking at them now, right? They all smell terrible. Almost all of them have either just sort of like wounds or bruises that look old and sort of just festered. Some of them seem like they might have been fatal. Others of them just seem like they're painful. They're not all eating. There's about a third of them that haven't eaten anything. But they also all have sort of what do you call it? Like a kind of determination and grit that most wastelanders have. So even though they kind of seem like they're not exactly in the best shape, they also make do out here and survive.
Icky will glance at her hand for a minute and then, please pay heed as the Goblin King summons a miracle and heals your illness.
I can do that. Come, bring your sick and afflicted to me.
Behold the mightiness of his miracles.
The might and the mercy and the miraculous ways of Gildan Goblin. Now I want you to hold these beads.
Like lizard spirit figures.
Lizard
With all
spirit
of the
figures.
puppets, the frogs. All right, but they are, you've got their attention, and if you start healing some of them,
I will.
Yeah.
I'll heal a full 5. The wisest among them.
Okay.
If more want healing, they're gonna have to bring themselves forward. And I'm willing to do a little converting if I need to. I got some ceremonies. If they're willing to convert, well, this will give them some buffs and some bonuses.
Yes, I'm.
Yeah. I mean, they're all of them. They sort of have a. I don't know. Let's see. Conversions a lot. That's sort of. They're like, feed us. What do you want us to? You want us to worship something? Like what do we do? What do we have to do?
No, I don't want you to worship a thing. I want you to serve a cause and then decide for yourself. This is essentially the test. Axe Streamer needs an army, and you are that army. You are Axe Streamer's army, and today you are knights in that army. Now kneel, and I pull out. It's gonna be like an ugly sausage link or something if I do that hand gesture. Yeah, I'm willing to knight them.
Okay.
For I am king, Goblin King.
Let's see here. Give me
Just a choir of desert frogs.
Yeah.
It's just like, behold in his benevolence, the Goblin King.
Give me a persuasion check for Gildan.
David Bowie.
I would like to assist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I get persuasion from any of the healing and feeding?
There's like, I think that's just letting. That's just letting you make the attempt.
Okay.
Because they're otherwise like pretty reluctant.
So
this is like sort of like what's the this
Yeah.
is more to like
I got a 22. I rolled a 19 plus 3.
they've got they have they're sort of like the desperation of it. If you explain this sort of like joining the Axe Dreamers army, you tell him what it's for, like what he's getting an army together for.
Their mission's a little different than his. They are to stand as pillars before the world, and to burn the wicked. And the wicked is whatever Icky says. For that, those are the eyes of judgment. Look at them.
As a group.
Oh.
What do you want us to burn?
Icky will like look at her hand and it's like, oh, there's blood on my hand. We are going to kill a demon, and you don't have to help. But if you could not help, that would be good too.
Oh, you mean the yes. Oh, well, we can. Some of us here are trapped by that thing. We we don't know what we can do. But if you can, well, you fed us, and if you can conjure all this, then, well, that's a better chance than any of us had. And they seem like they're on board, if only because it's many of them see it as just like it's this or nothing.
Yeah. At this point, Icky will like sit down among them and say, "Tell me, what secret ways are there into the palace?"
There's most places you can reach, and at this point they're sort of inviting you inside their cellars. At night,
not gonna fit in there. Oh well, there is a hobgoblin, so probably, but she's a big girl, so
is there like a squeeze through like a hole in a wall and down?
She just sits outside of the door.
they describe a sort of like an undercity, like connected to the parts that you've been to, with most of the palaces being connected in some way through that undercity, just through people repurposing things and tearing down old buildings and building up new ones, and can provide guides there. As she's sort of explaining all of this, have you met with the well, there's a there's a
Good night, Trogdor.
good
love
night,
you too.
Trogdor. There's some of the old, well, you don't know what you'd call them, but they're old ones, the rotten ones, the ones that are all dead. Some of them stay down in that undercity, and well, I don't know. I don't know if you talked to any of them, but there's some of them down there that always want us to, bring them news, and maybe we could talk to them. And she sort of seems reluctant because I don't know. You get the strong sense that she's afraid of them.
Do my conjured animals vanish when they die?
I think so. We never really kind of went over that. They can just be sort of like made of ectoplasm, or they can just be like creatures that you're summoned from nearby, and they're creatures.
Yeah. It does say they disappear when they die. Never mind that. I was just wondering.
Cool.
Icky will just like look at them and say, "Has the demon ever left the palace?"
Not that I know of. Maybe we switches palaces, but it's I don't ever see it travel through. Only the processions of the undying, those what make up his court.
Switches palaces? When?
On his whim, or whenever he wants to cause them grief. That gong means he'll probably be at the forward palace, the one that's closest to the fortress by the gates. And you've seen it, like it's this giant sort of building, sort of like fortress palace close to where you entered.
And the gong sounds when it is time to switch, or when he has already switched?
The the old ones down in the undercity, they say it's when he, what they call it, it's when he harvests all of their spirits, their souls. And as she's talking about all this, they're sort of like they're huddled around, finishing eating up some of the food that Gildan has conjured, and seem just sort of generally ill at ease with what was sort of this topic. But she's still willing to talk some more.
Okay. Icky will, I'm going to fast forward through this conversation a little bit, because Icky will spend the rest of the time asking about specifics, like where the processions come from, armed guards, things like that. And will also do her best to ensure that they tell other like-minded people where they can get food and healing from Gildan.
Okay. So, yeah, they sort of spill the beans. Badua is her name, Badua. And she, as near as you can tell, has lived here a long time and has managed to sort of scrape by and survive. She tells you all about the different patterns of the city, the fact that Tengrith makes the different undead aristocrats travel all throughout the city to different palaces based on what's most inconvenient for them mostly. And how if you stay here long enough, she describes it as it's very difficult to leave. And you'll find that one day you try to leave and you just don't want to. And that it's just too frightening to think about leaving the city, and too difficult to take a step or even remember where the gate was.
How long did it take you?
It seemed like it took a few weeks, but I noticed things within the first week. A little losing my way and feeling like this place was safe, even though I know it isn't.
I see. Well, you know where you can find us.
They seem heartened. Like at the, they at the very least have gotten something to eat and are have a plan. Badua says it'll take some time, but that there are others in the city. Not all of them are, as she puts it, trustworthy. But
Yeah.
many people just wander in here from the wastes and end up trapped.
Icky will ask one last favor.
Mhm.
She leans down into the dust and uses her talon to scratch a picture, like a very crude, 2 triangles connected and then a line through it for an axe.
Mhm.
It says, "Tell those who are loyal to put this where we can find it.
Will do."
They will be spared."
She nods, and the rest of their, this group of scavengers seems determined. Most of them are staying here for the night and invite you if you'd like to stay as well. But it's only early evening, it's not even quite fully dark by that time.
From then on, Icky will take Gildan's lead.
Okay. So that takes a while. So finally here we've got Ellie Murr and then Axe Dreamer will be with y'all. So I'm assuming Murr's driving the skiff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going to the library.
Let me make just a note real quick.
Yes, Jim, I'm taking the skiff. I ain't leaving that nowhere.
Okay. So you depart, leaving Ninizin and Memnon to go to the Enclave, and Gildan and Icky are sort of like planning and casting a lot of magic and doing some stuff. You make your way towards where this library is, and give me an idea. It's still, as you're leaving, it's still sort of like midday in the city. Mm-hmm. It's not going to take you that long to get there. Less than an hour.
Perfect.
Certainly. Give me an idea of any sort of precautions or anything you do beforehand, and what your sort of goal is here.
Goal is to do some studying and reading and see what she can learn about this magic. She's really hoping to find Gorasto, the huge nerd, as per my notes, and schmooze him up and make it be like, oh, wow, you're so intelligent, please tell me more, and just feed into his ego. She knows the self-important nerd type. She's gonna just feed into that and see how much she can squeeze out of him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how about is Ellie just along for the ride, or do you have
I imagine Ellie would probably find some interesting things to read in the library too, because she can read a couple languages now.
Yeah, and she's been practicing a lot in her reading. So like on the way there, she's been planning basically how to get these souls and other beings free from this thing. Mm-hmm. So she's definitely going to pick up some books about like weird soul binding magic or that kind of stuff along those lines. See if she finds anything.
Sweet.
I'm the bard wizard. I read all the things, learn all the magics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Soul magic. So books on soul magic, and then talk to guy. All right. So I need, as you're passing through the ruins of the city, working your way through the different neighborhoods, I need and let's see. Give me a perception check. Just sort of like just a general sort of like noticing.
Oh, and I put a spell into my ring of spell storing too. One of them. That way I'm just marking that up to myself mostly.
sounds good.
Okay. So you would do a what? Perception check, you said?
Yeah. In fact, Ellie can make one as well.
Oh, 19!
Ooh, me too.
Hey!
Twins. You said perception, right? Yeah. Just 19.
Okay, so you're passed through maybe 2 or 3 neighborhoods. You're well out of the distance from where you started, and just there's something off with the skiff. It's not quite handling as smoothly as you would like, and it feels like it's both more difficult to control, and also just less. It's just not as smooth.
Oh, my baby.
And both of you sort of like notice that.
What is wrong with you? Just stroking like what you do the dashboard. Just everything is going to be okay.
Does it need some sort of charging? Does it need food? Hugs?
I feel that perhaps the necrotic energy in the area might not be the healthiest for its containment unit. It is a theory. I will have to look into it further.
Okay.
Until then, I'm just monitoring very carefully.
All right. Let's see.
I'm gonna keep my eye out
Oh,
for like any weird stuff.
gotcha.
Anything sketchy.
In terms of like the neighborhoods you're passing through, or the
Yes.
got it. So you've passed like this is like the second day you've been here, maybe like in the second day, and you keep passing these places that have been fortified. They look like they've got like almost the equivalent of like barbed wire or something. It's sort of like spikes and impediments around them. Some neighborhoods have a lot of these buildings in them. Others just have a but other than that, as you're passing through the city, it's like the hottest part of the day. It's like miserable out. It's not particularly, there's not really much else.
Okay.
Driving along, I need you to make me a vehicles like
Okay, yeah, I got that. Okie dokie. That'll be a +4. I'm proficient, yeah, by this point.
Mhm.
Okay, I'd be half proficient anyway, so +8. 22.
Okay. So there's a shuddering now, like it's visibly shaking, and you're like everybody riding is having to like just hold on to it. You haven't lost control of it, but it's
I slow down and I cast ritually detect magic on the skiff and try to see what's up, what is going on here.
Okay.
Can I see if it's mechanical or arcane or just what?
It is definitely arcane. As you sort of like attune your senses to the magic and inspect it, you can tell that the binding glyphs have been marred, and recently.
Mending.
It's going to be. It is a like the materials that are like inlaid into the wood. It's it's more than a mending can get.
Okay.
It's not like chipped paint or like the railings cracked. This is like someone has sabotaged the elemental bindings of your skiff.
Mark gets real mad. Little flames pop up in her eyes. It's like she's Mur's a car person, and it's like someone took their keys down the side. She's so mad. Oh, and then put water in the gas tank. She's so mad.
Breaks.
Oh, she's just. I cannot even right now.
What happened?
Someone has attempted to sabotage the skiff.
Can we fix it?
We are going to.
Bless you.
It'll take a while to fix. You think it's possible to, but this instead of changing a tire, getting major repairs done.
Gotta change the transmission now.
Yeah, you were one away from it being a catastrophic, like out of control.
Yeah, so I didn't roll very high, but I had a +8, so
you stop before it shuddered out of control. careening into the ruins. So yeah, it's there. It's sort of like listing, and even as you're off of it, you can tell that the elemental bound here is like pressing against its bonds as it shudders and jolts, even as it doesn't even.
And it probably better to not write it than to keep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
She is going to. Do I think like, But can I put a donut on it until I have the time to repair it fully later?
Like you could
just like not to be able to get it to go places, but just to like strengthen the containing field a little bit. Just
okay, I see.
It'll sit here, and I won't touch it, but it's just gonna sit here.
Okay, so like you could do something like that. You could like both through a combination of like mending and just like repairing.
Yeah.
You could, like get it to the point where it's not going to make it any worse.
Yeah,
but that would be like you'd have to like cancel the trip. They'd be spending a lot of time doing that.
Ellie, this is very frustrating. This is just.
I mean,
but as you look at it, it's been deliberately messed with.
Oh.
It's not an accident. It's not just wear and tear.
Ooh.
Do you think it was at the last place we were in?
No, it was fine until this morning. It happened while we were resting. I rode the skiff back, and it was fine then.
Can I check for fingerprints? Or like a smell or a goo of some sort on this skiff?
Yeah. All right, give me an investigation. As you're just like I'm assuming you're like just really checking pretty closely what you might learn.
Yeah, I got a 5.
It's tough. It's definitely made by some kind of tool, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like it doesn't look like a claw or anything. It's not like ragged. It looks like
even worse.
It's like a hatchet.
So offended.
But other than that, it's really can't tell. Are you guys? What's the plan then? Are you gonna stay with it or?
Yeah. How far away are we from the library versus how far away from Memnon's house?
You're closer to the library than Memnon's house.
Okay.
In terms of far away, it's a matter of like
gotta tow it to the library.
15 minutes away from the library, like 20 minutes away from.
Yeah. Stupid. She's gonna tow it to the library.
Okay.
I will help.
All right. Yeah, it's a wax streamer, and it floats just fine, right? Like,
yeah, it's easy to tow. She wants to be in a place where other people can at least be productive while she fixes this.
Okay, so you make it,
and to let her know, tell them to let her know if they see Garasto.
Okay. All right.
Her baby.
So you make your way to a labyrinthine library. It looks like it's several buildings that have been like built. Things have been built in between them to like create one sort of conglomerate building. But it's clustered around this large, almost temple-like structure that these other buildings have sort of been glommed onto. It bears the same sort of marks of fortification and habitation. And I didn't leave the skiff alone for half a day. That's not my fault. So there was
it's an unprecedented amount of sass from that corner. That was just like.
And so you pass through this sort of labyrinthine entrance halls, and you can hear the odd echoing footstep throughout this place. But outside of the sort of entrance foyer that you're in, it's difficult to tell as you like look down doors and a hallway here, a hallway there. It's kind of difficult to tell exactly where you would go in here. And so you find yourself in this entrance foyer to this library. Do you want to head in further, or do you want to wait a while? What do y'all want to do?
Ellie would probably go in. But are you okay? It is fixable, right?
It is fixable. It is just going to take me some time.
Okay.
So you're gonna stay? Is Ellie or is Mur gonna stay outside and fix it, or you're gonna?
She's gonna say, "Let me know when you find the books and if you find Gorasto."
Okay.
Okay.
And then she'll go in.
She'll go in.
And I
Actually,
send Bequeathic in with her.
are you sure you don't want me to stay out here with you? Just keep an eye out.
Do you know how to fix a skiff?
No.
Go keep an eye on Ellie until you get bored and then come check on me.
All right. Okay. All right. So be careful. And he kind of like hesitantly walks away from Mur and follows Ellie. Now, inside Ellie, you found this entrance room. It's lit by some sort of magical candle, or at least it's a sort of a pale bluish green kind of flame. And it's sitting on a desk far, sort of like across the room from where you entered. You can see several other doors throughout here. And it looks like there's maybe a sign or something on the desk, some sort of piece of paper or something, and also a bell.
Ellie will get closer and read said piece of paper.
Your eyes sort of focus on it for a minute. At first, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like gibberish, and then it shifts to the words, "Wait here."
Okay. And she won't touch anything because her moms have told her not to touch things. So she's just going to stand there and then look around awkwardly and then look at Axdramer and just be like, we can't touch anything. We're not allowed.
Not even... We have to at least touch the doors if we're going to... Mercy, we should look for the book.
Well, this thing says wait here. We can't disobey the sign.
I suppose not. Do you think we should ring that bell?
Is that what they're for?
I mean, it's a... Well, and he's like, I guess you don't... And yeah, it's a... And he picks it up without... Like, he's like, it's like this. It's a little... Ding, ding, ding. Just like a tinkly little bell.
Bless her. I didn't realize
She didn't know what a bell is. Yeah. It's a
good thing I sent him in there. Should have been standing there for hours.
Yep.
And he sort of like rings it for you just to see. Sure, it's like this. I guess it's sometimes it's for music.
Oh.
He's more she looks sort of like sheepish about it as he tries to explain what a bell is. Right.
That's a weird device.
It's a thing. All right.
But okay.
And last thing. So you do anything else, or you just like wait?
Ellie will still wait.
Okay.
For maybe 5 more minutes.
All right. And then we'll see what happens. All right. Where's my list? So I guess that moment when you're about to get up and like I'm done, or it's time for a change. A door on the far side of the room opens, and you see a sort of curiously robed figure. It looks like these sort of elaborate kind of brocade robes. They've been dyed all various shades of what looks like black. There's like ashy sort of black, and there's very like dark sort of obsidian. It kind of creates a grayscale look to them almost, but their hoods sort of give their heads a very shapeless look. You can't really see its face or arms, just kind of shuffles in and makes itself available to you. Doesn't say anything.
And then she'll walk a little bit closer to it. And then she'll kind of turn her head a little bit to see if she could get a peek of its face. Hello?
As you look down in, you can't see anything inside the hood. There's just nothing.
She'll like adjust her eyes a little bit more to make sure she's not going crazy. Um, um, can I look at your books?
There's a slight nod of the head, and one of the sleeves, and as it moves, you can tell it's just empty.
Mhm.
Points towards another door.
Thank you very much. You are so kind. And then she'll kind of like skip to the door that he pointed.
And it's not locked. It's an old door, but it's been well maintained. The hinges on it sort of creak if you try to move it. It's sort of stuck, but it's not like a rotten, decayed door. It's just old. Do you open it?
It's this one, right?
It just sort of continues to point its empty sleeve at the door that you're standing in front of.
He lifts his sleeve up, and it's a tiny hand.
Tiny hand.
No, oh, okay. And then she'll just kind of grab it and slowly open it.
Okay.
She'll like turn the knob.
There is a large, or sort of like a long hallway. You can see stacks of books on pretty much every wall. It looks as though they're like original stacks, and then others have been built in to form just sort of a mishmash kind of haphazard library. And you can see it's sort of like this room and several others beyond it that are the same. And it looks like this sort of like opens up into the stacks of the library.
Okay, this is a lot of books. You know how to read, right? Ask X-Dreamer.
Yeah, sure. A little bit here and there, But why are we gonna? Oh, we gotta read all. Are we going to have to read them all? Or are we just looking for?
Yep. All of them, every single one.
All right.
I'm just kidding. No, we don't.
No, he thought you were serious.
You get it? That's a joke.
No, I thought. Well, I mean, Mur said, and I just, I didn't want to. I just, I wanted to be sure we knew what we were doing. That's fine. You know what? You go and look. I'll make sure nothing sneaks up on us.
It's a library. Nothing's going to sneak up on us. It's not allowed in libraries.
That was a fun one.
No, I'm serious.
Oh, right. You're correct. Well, I can lead the way, and I will do the best I can. And he sort of like picks up some books and flips through them. It'll take a while. These books seem, I mean, they're in order, right? Like it's a library.
Yeah.
A section of them. But it is gonna. You feel like you get the impression it's gonna take a while because you're not finding any of the titles here that you're looking for.
You know who we should ask? Our new friend.
Which one's that?
The robe outside.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. And you see, he goes back out. The front room's empty. But there's other doors in here that you could explore through. How long do you look for books and explore, or wait around for anyone else?
I think she'll immediately, if she doesn't see the robe friend there, she's gonna ring the bell again, and then hope for it to come back out. Maybe like a minute or two.
And there's a this time a different door opens, and you can hear as it's opening sort of like other noises from beyond. Sounds like different footsteps or something. And then it shuts. This time it is Garasto as he makes his way into the entrance room. And forgive me, I heard your arrival earlier, but was, unavailable. Is there to what do I owe this pleasure?
This was the nerd friend, right? Or the nerd.
He's sort of like
Yeah.
like what you would call like an orc Yonti kind of
Mhm.
looking guy. That's what he looked like before.
So my friend was here recently, and he was very nice. Not that you're not, but I mean, I guess you could help. You're already here. Can you help me find some books and not ask questions?
I can help you navigate the stacks. I don't know about asking questions. It's well, depends on what you're looking for. He seems sort of like both like, oh, look what we get to do. We get to go look through the books. Kind of enthusiasm, and also is like, oh, a puzzle. If I can't ask questions, then perhaps a bit of, well, I won't ask directly, perhaps. But I need to know something to help you find the books.
Yes. Come on. Okay, and then as we go back into the room, so our conversation earlier, or the first time we met, kind of piqued my interest, and I want to learn more about like soul binding stuff and spells and whatnot.
The magic of the anima, as the ancients used to say.
Yes.
Well, it is complicated and potent magic, and he launches into a long preamble and explanation about the different nature of souls and magic. And
okay, listen. I know you're very excited about all this stuff.
Mhm.
You know, you have lots of knowledge, but I need to learn more about this anime in books.
Yes, a book on the matter would be a better way. Teach yourself rather
A book
than...
on the matter would be a manga.
Can you tell who the weebs are here? Anyway.
And he leads you through other rooms of bookshelves and side rooms, little seating areas. You occasionally see other robed figures. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's gray, white, black. It seems like there's those are the four predominant robed figures that you see, but almost always they seem to be ignoring you, or at the very least don't pay you much attention.
I say hi to each one of them. Hi, friend. And I go and like get a book and stuff.
They might not respond to you. They tend to be single-minded in their focus, I've learned. He sort of like after probably like the 12th time he said hi, it's like, but he probably doesn't notice that you don't seem to,
Yeah, I mean, they might be focused on one thing, but I mean, there aren't a lot of people here, so they probably don't make a lot of friends. So it's nice sometimes for somebody to tell you hello or like how your day was, even though you don't get a response, right?
I suppose so. I hadn't thought of it that way, but they tend to keep to themselves. So well, to be honest, I tend to forget about them. But
that's mean.
Well, not.
I'll never forget you guys.
One of the ghost librarians waves goodbye to Ellie.
Yes.
He leads you through many different rooms, up and down several different levels, and you feel like you've been in here and walked around for like bigger than this place is on the outside. And like he takes you down several flights of steps that would have put you below ground into the city, but when you pass windows, you're still got sunlight and the light. So it's just sort of it takes a while to get where you're going, and it feels like you should have left the library by now. Mm-hmm. But he brings you to a section that has all kinds of rather important looking books. They seem bound in various hides and styles of manufacture. And he takes you towards several older sections of the library. You find most of what you're looking for here, although I'm afraid if it's this sort of magic is quite complicated. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to help, but I do think that learning as you go, I'm a bit of a self-learner myself, and I admire that. I would start here, and he sort of points out a book, takes several off the shelf, and hands them to you and Axe Dreamer. These are the fundamentals. If you're looking for more specialized, they're over down this way. And he basically gives you the layout of this.
Yeah. Okay. So she's just going to grab a bunch of books and then go to the more advanced ones because she knows that Mur's way more advanced than her. And just grab a bunch of those and some that kind of seem relevant about what we're both trying to find. And kind of just puts them in her bag. Can I take these upstairs?
You can take them, but I wouldn't leave the library with them. The attendants here frown upon that, but as long as you don't bring them near any open flames or leave the library with them, you are free to peruse them.
Okay. And then she goes back to the first floor of, I guess, where the entrance kind of was. And she'll sit down, if there's a table, and start reading them.
Yeah, you found a reading room with sort of a table with at an angle, kind of comfortable to read at.
Yeah.
And at this point, Mur, you've been outside looking at the skiff.
Got my sleeves rolled up, done the oil change. I'm ready to. I'm just getting in there.
Yeah, you're gonna need some. There's pieces of the binding material that are missing. They've been pried out with. You can see the marks of crowbars and pliers and the like that have taken out some of this elemental silver that keeps it bound here.
Well,
it's gonna
how rude. Yeah, it's work. I've been working on it this whole time, so.
They've been gone a while. Are you just gonna wait until they come get you, or it's getting close to sundown?
I think Mur, until it's almost sundown, probably wouldn't have noticed how long it's been because she's just involved in just lots of infernal muttering.
Yeah.
Monster. I'm sorry, I'll never let anyone hurt you again. Just a blackmail of stupid bodyguard and just. I think upon the sundown, she kind of. Oh, it's getting dark. She'll step inside and be like, Ellie, the Kroithik.
You see the same setup of a tiny bell, piece of paper that says, wait here, and desk. Although this time, it's with it, unless you immediately ring the bell, or do you?
No, I think... Well, she's not in that much of a rush. I think she'd just wait a second, but her foot would be tapping.
It doesn't take very long, less than half a minute for Garasto appears, and
foot tapping stops, and she just changes.
Yes, I just left your friend. She's in the other room, just beyond that.
Oh, excellent! She was telling me all about you. Your work seems so fascinating.
Thank you.
I would love to hear more about it.
Well, I've devoted much of my life to the study of unique magic that goes on here. In fact, I'd be happy to explain some of the concepts that Ellie has been reading herself and enlighten you as well. Of
course. I am somewhat familiar with soul magic. Nuances of taste, particularly. Some are certainly delicious.
Excellent. It's a fascinating, and he's a intelligent and considerate conversationalist, but also comes across as he's used to being the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, and she just and she knows it, and so she's gonna play into that. I had no idea, even if she did, or I had thought perhaps, but I wasn't sure. Thank you for confirming. Just feeding it.
Oh yeah. He seems to also
Sugar on
seems like a
top.
person that doesn't speak to living people very often, and is quite easy to get him going. And so he pretty much is happy in the confines of the library here. You're not in that charged atmosphere of the court. He seems much more relaxed and at ease, um, and is quite giddy to just like talk about the great and wonderful thing that he's been studying. It's
Oh, yes.
a powerful piece of magic.
Oh, it sounds like it. You must be quite learned to be able to have such a grasp on it.
Yes, it's a thing of remarkable beauty, but I do think that it's taken on more than a life of its own. And he sort of, in all of this, you get a sense of the complexity of this spell as well, as well as the kind of the broad limits of what it can and can't do.
Okay.
It covers the entire city.
Okay.
But the palaces are focal points for it.
Okay.
He's
stronger in the palaces. Yeah. Okay.
But it pretty much it allows him to alter the nature of magic at sort of a fundamental level. In a mechanical sense, he's got a bunch of meta magic options.
Yeah.
But it gives him a degree of control over the magic here that you wouldn't have outside of it. So, for instance, Gorasto explains how he's able to absorb and draw sustenance from spells cast at him, as well as able to take magic that's used against him and like throw it back on the person that tried to use it. He's very, it's fascinating.
Fascinating. It's amazing.
I know. And he's just, Gross, of course, gets really into it.
Yeah, she makes notes of all these things. Like, okay, don't throw magic at him. You can throw it back. Don't do this. Okay. Do nots and do's of how to fight.
That's sort of the more immediate stuff. He spends a great deal of time talking about the long-term effects. If you stay here for a long time, what exactly happens? And it seems as though the worst things that Tengrith can do require the individual that he's targeting with magic to have like been here a long time and been caught up in his web. The more like flashy stuff about him being able to absorb magic or redirect it, change it, that's just something that he can do.
That he can do. Okay.
Yeah. The nasty stuff you gotta be careful about. Like the things you can do with the mummies and others that are
Well, is there anything he can't do? Good heavens, this sounds like quite the spell.
I think he's quite limited in his what would you call it, imaginative horizons. He is a creature of elemental chaos, a demon who's managed to stay here for quite a while, and yet
quite impressive for a demon.
Yes, but also required him to keep a status quo, to not shake things up. And it's part of my study is how the spell has changed a caster. And he goes into a big long jag. And the gist of it is that Gorasto seems to think that Tengrith is less free to act than he thinks, and that the perpetuation of the spell itself seems to be the primary thing that Tengrith exists for now, as opposed to whatever messed up thing he wanted to do in the first
originally. Okay,
that's Gorasto's theory.
Okay, and she's gonna ask about I saw he sequestered himself within his soul. Is that a part of the spell, or just some unique ability he possesses?
Oh, this he posts up on a desk. Well, I think that is the gist of that is Gorasto seems to think it's new, but is in line with the kind of magic that Tengrith has mastered, and seems to maybe represent a new form. What he suspects is that someone like he's never seen anybody come in like Gildan did and like directly confront Tengrith, and that Gross was like, I think that perhaps caused him to reevaluate and adapt to a changing situation. Could be good, could be bad, but certainly not something I've seen.
Very brash.
I admire his moxie.
It's certainly one thing we could call it. You haven't seen as much of him as I have.
Right.
You've seen Gildan's Moxie? Oh no.
I've seen it. I've seen it all, Gildan.
Yeah.
Crying orb. What do you think happens?
Technically, he was naked in the finale of season 1.
I know.
Right. So I'd like to hit a pause here real quick because everybody's sort of like sought their allies. It seems to have set a plan in motion. It sounds like some waiting involved. At the very least, like spread the word amongst the scavengers and do some more research about
It's my skiff.
Yeah, you're gonna need access to some magical materials that are unavailable to completely fix it. But you're gonna at the very least
Like get the donut on it.
you can drag it without worrying about the elemental.
Okay.
escaping.
Yeah, that was her main concern, is the elemental getting loose. She's like, I have access to the elemental plane of fire, but not air. It could be difficult to get another one of these things around, and I do not want to have to ask Gildan for anything. So, because I know he could summon some shit. No,
Goblin King.
I'm not a goblin.
So how long are y'all going to wait for some of this to come to fruition? And for at least the time being, apparently is this soul harvest does require Tengra's attention.
How long is he going to be doing that?
Garasto speculates that is depending on. He collects them from the wasteland. That he says that they're drawn here like a beacon. And that they require periodic harvesting. Something this big must mean there's a. Gross doesn't know anything about what's going on outside the world. He's like, but
I asked him how long he's lived here.
He says since he was a child that he was lost and
the poor sheltered thing.
Yeah, that he found the library and that's what kept him.
Touching story.
But he, Grasto speculates that normally it doesn't take that long, but if the gong indicates it's something larger, it could be a while. It's, you guys just south of you, there's a big war with devils and wastelanders going on.
Oh, yes, that is definitely still going on.
Yeah. So I don't know, could be a while that they distracted. How long would y'all wait? Are y'all going to wait just like a day? Is there anything else that you wanted to do during this period of gathering allies and setting up a plan?
I side-eye anybody I see who has a freaking crowbar.
Like all the scavengers here have all kinds of tools of, they've got.
I just keep the devil glare up, and if any of them look real nervous when I give them the look, if I'm standing next to the skiff, I double and intensify it.
Okay.
Like, was it you?
Gildan animates some crowbars to taunt her.
Real quick, the decisiveness of the blade, that is the name of the servitor, although he just is content to be referred to as blade. The servitors are on board. They didn't require much convincing. They seem to have a kind of zeal and energy about them once they get by themselves, Denizen. When they're not around other wastelanders or anything, they have a very much like, we think that we ended up in this place. And Lang wanted to be here for some reason. We would like to deny him that in case he comes back. But otherwise, as far as they see it, or as far as we see it, this is as much our home because it's our past. And if we were to abandon it, that doesn't seem right. So they have you can tell that they have a sort of, an energy to them and an eagerness.
Nunzon would be a little surprised, but very very happy about that.
Yeah, they're very guarded around wastelanders, if only because when they arrived, they were rounding them up, waging war on them. But
Denizens felt that too. He's like, they don't really trust anybody.
So that's kind of what I was curious how long y'all would wait. Any other plans that y'all would have? There's a sort of a lull where your enemy seems to be distracted. At least a couple days.
Mur's gonna study the magic stuff a bit, and then relay it, everything she's learned to Gildan and anyone else who she knows she's seen cast spells, Memnon, etc. Like, this is what you should do. This is what you can. This is what you can do. This is what to watch out for. It seems to be more caster averse than melee. So
Right. It's sort of like, I guess in thinking about it in like a metagame terms, he's set up his own mini weave.
Yeah.
And you're using magic inside his own mini weave. Is what that's like the closest kind of like analogy.
Yeah, that's what she'll basically let them all know, is to look out for that. This is what to keep an eye out for.
Okay.
I don't want to. I was like, maybe I'll send a letter to the drow to get them. No, let's not. Let's not get the drow involved in this. That sounds like a real.
What if we didn't?
What about the Medusa?
What if we didn't? You're the one who's.
What about?
No.
What about her?
Medusa's army builder.
Ooh.
Real far.
Myrrh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they are. It's still a few days.
Not about contacting the devils, because they're right outside and they hate demons. But hey, I want to take down this big ass demon.
Yeah. What if you
That's
sent?
what Arbros is basically.
What if you sent a forged message to the Medusa, and we use it? We leave town a little bit. We do it magically. About how Gildan's been slain as the emissary, that they caught him while he was on a sacred mission for her. That's why she hasn't seen him in so long. And they like drew and quartered his body and stuck his head at the top of the tower and said, "She will belong to the demon prince." And I'm just thinking. I don't
know if that would rile her up, though. I mean,
she believes she's a god.
She does. But if she's been around this long, she probably knows he doesn't leave the city.
Yeah. What about Mivia? Mivia is still unaccountable.
Yeah.
She's a pretty powerful sorceress. I mean, she didn't have the wasteland, the invincible army of the wastes behind her, but she's a more sympathetic ally, certainly.
She got that stone turning thing, which could be.
And
helpful.
she's my best friend.
Yeah.
She came of age because I forced it.
I think contacting Mivia would be good. We're all in good terms with Mivia. She's an actual ally.
She's an actual ally
about this.
Like left everybody in like a pretty pleasant term.
I broke her leg. She's fine.
You guys didn't know about that.
No, and she was still cool with us. So
Yeah.
bad blood gone.
Okay, so you contact Mivia. Not the drought, potentially the devils.
Maybe the devils, yeah.
Certainly Arbros last time was good. We knew some of them last time. And
Well, devils and demons is that blood feud, man. Mur feels a little bit. She hates this punk.
There's a, like, Arbros was distinctly like, I need to do this because it's been too long since I've fought some demons. Like, let's do this. I think that was the general gist of the last interaction.
Yeah, we hate it. We hate demons. They're the worst. They're so chaotic. Ugh.
So, a couple of days together, the scavengers. A potentially reaching out to some of the more the wasteland allies, because it'd be a lot easier for Mivia to get here than like a whole army of
yeah,
she'd be able to get here pretty quickly.
God, Mivia.
Anyone else?
I'm considering attempting a divine intervention and opening another gate above the city. Why not?
What are you gonna ask for this time?
Is why not a genuine question?
No.
You can open a gate, but it can't lead to hell.
Well, here's what I want: a temporal gate, and I want a ling to come out of it.
So that, yeah, that's some powerful magic. I'm not sure that Baba Yaga knows temporal magic. I think she might. I think she
I
could some other.
Get us to Hades.
Well, let's think about it. So, ninth level cleric spell is a gate. What? I don't know.
I could try to convince some Celestials to come fight a demon. I can pop up on Mount Celestia and be like, "Hey, did you get my?"
I could as well. Here's what I could. Let me take a look. Let me think it over, because I only have like an 11% chance of it working, anyways.
Yeah.
I just need to look through. Bless your hearts, D&D Beyond, but you change the interface on me when I use your tool. Let's see.
So while our two spellcasters are like researching how the different spells they're going to use, what does everybody else think? What about Ellie and Nissen and Icky? What are some of y'all's thoughts?
Icky's trying to spread dissent among the servants of people who are serving, like the demon advisors and things like that.
Mhm.
That basically started with gang types and is like spreading more and more. Every like day, Icky goes out and like puts up some of the axe symbols herself
Mhm.
to make it look like there's more people in on it than there is. And is basically trying to get in with like servants and stuff and be like, hey, could you do me a super big favor and knife your nobles in the back? That'd be great.
So there's like a whole, through the scavenger network, he's able to contact a whole network of what you realize that there's two groups of sort of like that occupy this sort of bottom rung of the city. One of them is the lost, who are these scavengers. The other are the wretched, and these are the original inhabitants of the city who are not able to otherwise preserve themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the, like, eventually you get, let's say, maybe introduced to them and maybe brought somewhere into the Undercity where it's just a horde of these moldy, dusty skeletons and the like. They know a lot of different ways underneath the city, but most of them have a not just a powerful need to like fight back, but also they weren't lucky enough to be turned into a lich or a mummy or something like that. I think maybe like, yeah, it's maybe like the day later that, or maybe like even 2 days later.
Well, if we kill the master, somebody must inherit the city.
They can't talk, but they have a, you know, they nod. Those of them that are sort of like nearby you nod. Some of them are, you know, less decayed, and even a few of them look like they're just wastelanders who've been here for a long time, who still have capacity to talk. But they, through this sort of like pantomime and cracked vocal cords, you get the impression there's a lot of them underneath the city. Most of them just stay down there out of the sun, and that many of them would be willing to lend their whatever they could to a fight.
In that case, Icky would use that smuggler. I know that most of my smuggler stuff involves animals, but I would like to instead turn that to if there are weapons that you can make or supplies that you can smuggle through the city to help us when we kill this demon. It would be a great boon to me.
There's a you know that there's a great many vaults and you know, old forgotten places under the city. They know many of these places and will do what they can to find what weapons are available.
Icky will show them how to draw the Axe Dreamer's symbol and say, find me if you find anything particularly good.
They nod in unison, like a horde of just dusty, cracked skeletons underneath the in the undercity of this place.
I know what I want to try whenever you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll to see if it works, or do you want me to tell you what I want to do and then roll?
Give me an idea. Tell me what you want, what your plan is, and then we'll roll.
I want a 7th level cleric spell to be cast, and I want that spell to be Temple of the Gods, and I want directly near his palace for a second temple to just shimmer into existence as like a complete affront to him. Just kind of like, how dare you? It's like we're two neighbors. Like I build a house next to his house.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm already the pissant that walked right up to him.
Yeah, like, that's definitely require a roll. I like that. I like that plan though. So that's what that's divine intervention. So that's 11 on a D percentile.
I rolled an 11. I want this to be right before our shenanigans. It's just like we're gonna have the Icky Gildan riot, then just like, yeah.
So we'll do the rest of the setup first. So we've got the Temple of the Gods to draw them out. This will kick off the thing. Let's sort of back up from there. We've got because we'll also sort of like we'll need to figure out what happens when Baba Yaga shows up again. And what kind of temple
she might send someone else.
Yeah, she might just be like, oh, not again. And all this is going on. We've got Icky, who's been Temple of the God. Icky's been working the underclass or the wretched. We've got Ellie and Myrrh, who have been studying this spell, how it works, the various ways in which it functions and gives them advantage.
Sharing that knowledge.
And so after Ninizen has
can I reach out to my underground mage organization, have a couple of them guys show up? I have them.
They are very far away, but if you can make contact with them, they might be able
I'll try to make contact with them.
Yeah. What do you got?
Let me see. Let me look. I'm also tempted just to visit Mount Celestia and be like, hey, you guys wanna beat up a demon?
So when you've been there with Helen, it is empty.
Oh, bummer. I won't go there then because I sent a real bad thing there. Let's see.
Or at least the place you went to the last time.
I'm looking. I think I have a scroll.
Sending something.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to send them word. So Ninizen, you after securing this alliance with the other servitors, what do you get up to in this period of a few days before the overthrow, or for the attempt of overthrow of Tingrith?
Any graveyards that we've seen in cemeteries?
Yeah,
mausoleums.
You've seen a lot. Yeah.
He's gonna go and make himself a headstone.
For himself?
Yeah. Using their Shadow Spike, which is like sedimenting.
Right. Okay. And, so you make yourself a headstone.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you place it? Like, are you placing it in one of the cemeteries?
I'm kind of surely there's, with all the undead around here, surely there's an empty grave.
Yeah, I mean there is. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll place it there, and get it all nice.
Why is Citizen doing this? Like, is it like a morbid thing, or is it
No, they're going to carve this weird little symbol into it, as well as a date. Not like any relevant date, like not now, just like a date.
Okay. And
that's it.
So Denizen goes off on his own, carving his own headstone, and the allies that you're sort of begin to assemble. Is there any way for Murray? Did you have a way to contact?
I'm gonna hold off on that. I think I will contact Devils though. So.
Okay. So
they could be very helpful in this scenario.
If possible. There is a
they'd probably just want a piece of the action too. Just
undoubtedly they will want a piece. They'll want a piece of something. They'll want some real estate here. There's in these days of preparation.
She's not gonna tell everybody though. She's gonna tell one of the ritualists who worked with her because she thinks they're gonna be more discreet about it. But still bring help, just not be like, hey everybody, let's all go raid the city and the demons. And
you're not looking like for like the whole of the army, but just sort of like
just some key players. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, in that case, I mean, if you're sort of like offering an in,
Yeah, be like, hey, I've got a piece of the pie. Like you don't want to share all of the pie, do you? That one guy. Oh, what's his name? Have so many. Those
Oh, yeah.
those are people who are in the fellowship that are on the demons list. The one who was doing the investigation, the really polite one.
Jaja?
Jaja, yes.
Yeah. He's here. Like he's with
That's
the
right.
with the wasteland.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
he likes the demon though.
Okay.
But never mind.
There's a in this sort of like final moments of the preparation, and as Gildan's getting ready to make his intervention, and everybody's kind of made their preparations. That's when some of the scavengers lead they sort of approach both Gildan and Icky. In this case, mostly Gildan, but it's in this sort of capacity as, you're spreading your, the word to the city, building up this resistance. They they claim that someone from below, one of the old ones, one of the ones that are live down in the city, wants to. Well, they want to talk to you. They seem insistent. It's sort of like they've approached you and are asking if you'd be willing to meet with one of these beings from the Undercity. This is to Gildan, but I guess it might be
Gildan would if they ask Gildan directly. Yeah, I'd be willing to.
Okay. They don't. They're very nervous. They're very nervous about. Well, we would want to meet them below, if that's all right.
Sure.
When you're ready, they lead you to one of the many entrances to the Undercity, and after a short journey through tunnels and galleries and the like, you enter to a kind of domed chamber. There's all sorts of workbenches and shelves which line the walls here. They seem to have some sort of like glass containers along the shelves with some sort of liquid in them. And the scavengers that brought you here address someone in this sort of shadowy room. There's all kinds of weird lights and auras. It's not well lit here. There's just sort of like an ambient magical light, mostly golds and sort of emerald greens. But you can tell that there's some sort of figure that's shuffling about the middle of the room. And you can hear the scrape of like rusted metal. It sounds like maybe a suit of armor or something that's clanking. And the scavengers basically sort of like, we're here, he's here. And they don't leave. They just kind of like back away. What does Gildan do?
Well, they wanted to see me. I think I'm going to click my heels and float up to where I'd be about head height with whatever's walking around in there, and snap my fingers and set my head aglow.
Your light sort of like plays off of these metallic structures, sort of metallic humanoid sort of figures. It looks like there's a row of them that sort of standing. They don't appear to be moving or anything. They seem like they're in storage of some kind. All these kinds of arcane runes and other sorts of elaborate arcana tech kind of just paraphernalia are all around. And one of the metallic figures turns towards Gildan and approaches, and it's vaguely humanoid. It actually looks like more like a humanoid skeleton comprised of scrap metal than anything. And in a screeching, sort of hollow voice, addresses Gildan as we've seen your mark and heard the rumors from those that yet live. Do you really seek to overthrow the demon?
Well, it's on the list.
And the axe streamer is returned.
I'm gonna play this seriously because Jim's in. I was gonna be like, sure as shit he has. Gildan goes, the axe streamer walks among you.
There's a kind of you can feel a bunch of like minds awaken, like psychically, right? Like you've been in the presence of, say, like a bunch of servitors when they're all doing their thing. It's sort of like a similar kind of, you're aware of presences observing you and kind of watching. Has Mak Zarek been involved? Have you met with it? It kind of like is giving you you're looking at like a metallic skull face with its eyes, some gemstones which glow with an inner light.
Was Moxarek the Lich?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. That's my homeboy. I'm gonna be like him one day. I nod.
Useless fool. Never wanted to fight. And this, you can see others of the metallic frames that were sort of just standing limply begin to stir as you talk. What is your... Do you have an army? Or is this something else?
This is something else. My army was gifted. Do you have an army?
We have a force. We've been waiting. And you can see is like more and more of them begin to wake up, and this sort of army of old rusted and what appear to be scrap built custom sort of metallic skeletons begins to awaken. You're not clear right now, but it looks like there's quite a few of them.
Yeah. Will you fight alongside me?
Yes, we are strong in numbers, and we have waited a long time for this. And if what the scavengers say is true, you have... now is the chance to strike. And yeah, you get the impression that that they're eager to, or maybe a little too eager to aid.
That's good.
I don't trust it.
All of this is sort of gone on. We're kind of like playing loose with the time here for this few-day period. Is there anything else, any of the last-minute preparations? As I understand it, you're going to summon the temple, provoke this response from Pengrith, and then swoop in with all of your varied allies.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the wretched they're able to smuggle weapons to like all of the scavengers and stuff that are looking to either arm themselves and join us or protect themselves inside their homes. Mm-hmm. So
here's how I'd like it to work. The temple appears. Now, these wretched, rusty... I love these guys. Their action figures are the best. They're kind of like the Cauldron Born from the Black Cauldron, I imagine, except more like, cool. They're going to be able to come right up and out of the temple, because the only thing that is penalized if it goes inside is going to be demons. So if these guys are not demons, it's just going to be like, all right, boys, come right out the front and into Tingrith's. Just conga line right in there.
All right, so you're sort of like a surprise, sort of like a surprise diversion from the temple, and then hit them with a like all of the wretched, and then
they're just gonna come pouring out, and this is going to be a temple to the philosophy of the Gildanites.
So that's where they go nuts. And how about the more sort of like the servitors or some of your other allies? Where do y'all envision? them being useful.
Hover bikes.
It's like, otherwise, they will put themselves to their best use as they see fit.
I think they need to. What do you think, Ninizen?
I think that we should hope that he shows up.
Garum Sin. He's awesome.
That was my bet. Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I think that he should stick as close to the servitors, or they should stick as close to the servitors as they can, because they, meaning all of them, can like stay connected,
Okay.
use tactics, whatever. So
Sure.
So
I guess everybody's going to be part of this main, like, it sounds like it's like everybody together. You're not splitting any of your forces. No one's doing like a distraction somewhere else in the city, or like trying to convince, like, boom, and then hit them hard and fast.
Well,
I think. Okay. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the biggest advantages you can get in like wartime is like picking your battlefield. So, do we know where our battlefield is going to be?
I want to try to lure him into the temple.
Love.
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
You're trying to lure him into the temple by like
if he comes into the temple, which he should be able to, it's going to be hard for him, but he's got amazing rolls. He's -4 on everything, or rather 1d4 on all attack rolls, all saving throws, all everything. He is debuffed in Gildan's temple. And we are all buffed in Gildan's temple. With that said, this dude is a bad mofo. I think if
how do we get him in there?
He's going to come right up and slap me in my face and probably turn my insides out. Gildan may die in this, but what a way to go. Just kind of like I piss right on his lawn and take a dump right in front of him and be like, double fingers.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you've spent the last like half week doing, is riling up the entire city to the point where you're able to, it's not just like a showdown between the two of you, it's like the whole city gonna be there.
I'm thinking we have them our wastelanders, etc. Their whole plan was to just start like raising buildings and rioting in one quarter. Gildan's going to temple right in front of them.
Especially those who don't have good weapons, they should be like rioting throughout the city.
We could even temple on the other side where there's the riot, so he's further away from his house. I just like the idea of directly in front of him, just because, like, hey, I'm your new neighbor. I'm Gildan. We're buddies.
Yeah.
Question. Could Myrrh have spent, because we spent a few days, she would have wanted to spend some of that time with Garastro theorizing how much of this, because he says the magic's been affecting Tengrith as well, he believes. Like, are they so intertwined that if one disappeared with the other as well? Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but if Tengrith were to up and leave, get tired, go back to the Abyss, what would happen to the spell if he's not there to maintain it?
It's Grosso's, good question. Thanks about it.
If it's a spell of this capacity, it might not need a person to maintain it, and thus everyone's problem would still be here. And so she kind of wants to get a head start if that is going to be a problem potentially.
Grosso knows a couple things about the spell. It has to be maintained.
Okay, it does.
Actively maintained. So if someone is not there to maintain it, they don't know how to, or
there
are ways they can, then it will eventually degrade.
Okay. What happens to the souls, theoretically speaking, when it does degrade?
So this is where Garasto, you and he are sort of like having this conversation. He's like,
Reverend T.
Yeah, and he dropped some interesting tidbits that maybe surprised me, or at least like maybe contradict some of the things you've learned in Hell.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, on the subject of whether or not Tengrith would return to the Abyss, Ross basically just like, there's nothing that suggests it exists anymore. There's no evidence of it.
That's true.
But either way, I think that the spell here, this might as well be Tengrith's home. It is his domain. And I guess go on this big about what that means and all that stuff.
Yeah.
the gist of it is that he thinks that like it'd be impossible to say banish Tengrith.
Yeah. What about the souls though that are all bound here by Tengrith? What would happen to them if the spell and he were to go free?
They would be free to wander, but there's no.
A lot of them dead here is just why I ask. It seems so curious.
I think
Chaos potentially.
I think they would eventually, their forms at least would die or decay. The spell keeps them somewhat preserved, but there's nowhere for them to go. They would simply wander the wastes. They're trapped here, but they won't move on. And he sort of like is...
And that's how Murr convinces several strategic devils to come in is, hey, there's going to be a soul free-for-all, like, once this bad boy goes down. Like, do you know how many thousands of them are just sitting here? Come get a slice of that soul pie.
Sell out all these poor wretches.
Not all of them. We invited a few. No one will notice a few dozen.
Yeah, he sort of is speaking of speaks from sort of like some sense of authority and experience on it. Yeah. I think the Tengrith would be consumed by the spell if it were turned on him, or somehow would be overcome by it. But the magic will eventually fade and can be unraveled, however complicated it is.
Very complicated. Whew. Yeah. And then, of course, just the rest of her free time. Kind of just try to get a sense of the weave. Till then.
Yeah. It's a, like I said, it's sort of a supplanted the other types of magic that is possible. And then even some of these works contain references to a sort of magic that you saw the mummies practice. That, sort of like, how to describe it? So like creating a negative effect or effect by sort of its negation is how they practice their own. I think this is sort of everybody's prep.
Yep, that's just
that covers everything.
Wanted to learn a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I like being prepared. Burr likes being prepared more than I do. So.
As the various elements of your sort of plan come into place, you this is where Gildan would summon the Bobby, like you do your divine intervention.
Yeah.
You feel that same presence, and Bobby Yaga's here in the city, and just you called me again, Gildan.
I was hoping for Punch and Judy, but you'll suffice.
The next time, maybe. What do you want?
I want a temple made in honor of all my great works that I've done in the service of thee, and I want it right there.
And
really bright inside, murals of my sexual exploits. I want a throne and an altar.
She just like looks at you for a long minute and like is just grinding her iron teeth, and that's when she starts cackling and like kind of like slaps you on the back, like, oh, what a good laugh. Your Gildan's teeth start to ache and like hurt. And you can feel like one of them's maybe a little loose.
Oof.
in your mouth.
No, they already stole my hairs, not my teeth.
And you can feel something coming, like just sort of rising up. There's just a kind of a pressure, and you start spitting out an endless stream of teeth and bones and the like. That
get out of my dream journal.
Bit them, they start forming this building, this temple to Gildan's. And it's
satirical and mocking. They're
I'm
murals.
supposed to describe all the attributes. It says so in the spell.
She's a.
I get it.
Touches there.
Yes, and I agree
like
with
this
all
more
of it.
than anything.
Yeah. What takes it is you spit out your temple.
It's perfect.
It goes up 120 feet high, and it's roofed, and it's just this massive. Oh my gosh, I want the big rotating golden head on top. Even if I've got to vomit it up, it's worth it. And I want it to smell whatever Tingrith's least favorite smell is. It's just like radiating from it.
As you find, you're sort of like opposite there's like a courtyard area like right between
statues of Tingrith kneeling before everyone he hates. Axe Dreamer, the Archlich, Icky, Myrrh, Arbros, our devil friend, a couple where like Ellie's like punting him. There's all these like mocking Tingrith statues, and like this is this is the worst. This is the best.
I think it's a fine place. Just gonna call it, because otherwise we'll get into a big thing. As Gildan's temple of teeth and wisdom is erected.
My wisdom teeth.
Erected in defiance of Tingrith's palace, where he's currently occupied, harvesting the souls of all of those who are perishing in this infernal war from the wasteland. The party has arrayed themselves to overthrow him, along with the lost and wretched of the city, as well as a group of alchemical liches who represent the minor, what they call the arcana minora of the city, the minor mages, who have embalmed their brains in necrotic fluid and placed them in exoskeletons of their own making. Will join you as well. That'll be next week, and we'll sort of like play through all that. Otherwise, yeah, we'll call it here a little bit as Gildan spits out his temple of teeth.
Bless you.
Good
I can't believe I have to change my notes for mists this week.
Oh.
So mad now.
Oh, I'm sorry, TK.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll rip you off. It's fine. I don't care.
It's all right. Excuse me. Thank you for joining us this evening, folks, and just hanging out with us in chat as this sort of careens to you're in that second half of D&D. Things just kind of get ridiculous, especially once you can regularly call and traverse planar boundaries and do all kinds of stuff. We appreciate you hanging out, and let's go around and talk to our great group of players, see if they've got anything going on. And what's up, Josh? Garam Sin, he just he made an impression on you, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I've actually been wanting to. One of my characters that I've really been wanting to play in Blend Between Two Rivers is just a dried up fish man, just like a Triton who looks like he's been sun dried,
like a piece of dried fish.
Mm-hmm, like a piece of dried fish. Like every now and then he'll move and you'll hear like a crackling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like a fish lich?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I mean, he might be a
fish lich.
Which?
Fish lich.
Salted fish lich. Yeah.
I'm so hungry now.
Yeah. Well, I draw silly stuff, and
there you go.
And I'm at Beer for Charity on Instagram and Twitter.
All right.
Currently, commissions are now closed, like permanently, but that's going to give me time to work on some stuff. I'm trying to build up some projects that I won't jump the gun on and say anything about.
Cool.
Yes.
Very good. And Anna.
Hello. Well, you can bet that Ellie is totally being a total academic nerd, learning about everything.
Oh.
And also, when I was younger, I had dreams that my teeth would fall out. So when you were giving that description of him just like throwing up teeth, I was like,
100%. I've had that dream too. Except mine are like doll teeth. Like I would like lean forward and it would just be a stream of doll teeth falling out of my mouth.
Oh
And
no.
then my dentist told me that weak gums run in my family. So
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah.
don't think they run in my family, but it's just weird to dream about, or you're like, oh, I feel something weird and like it comes off.
mhm.
And I've read that it's supposed to signify or whatever, something about that you're going to have money. But where's the money? I don't see it. I feel bamboozled. But anyway.
That's a clear bamboozle.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yes, I'm Anna, hello, or Cyborg Pizza on the interwebs. I do stuff sometimes, and sometimes I chill. Mostly chill. That's it. Have a good day. Thanks for coming out.
Excellent. And TK.
It's me. It's TK. I write spooky stories on the internet, and if you want to read them on the internet, then you can. If you open your internet and go to tkjwrites.com. I'm doing this with my hand. It doesn't mean anything. Sometimes I play in games, and I have a stream schedule that I just updated because I'm no longer lazy or a liar. It's on my pinned tweet thread. TK joins the fray on Twitter. Also on my Twitter is a really absurdly long live tweet about shows that I watch. So if you like GIFs, you should look at that. And if you don't, I don't care. Don't tell me. Also on there is like some cool announcements of things I'm doing. Like if you like Dungeons and Dragons and you like listening to other people talk about Dungeons and Dragons, then come hang out with me tomorrow. I will be on Dragon Talk with Craig Tito and not Shelly Masnoble, but Lisa Chen. It'll be fun. I think that I'm also doing an interview next Tuesday for Drunks and Dragons, and that'll be cool too. And like in May, maybe if you like Dungeons and Dragons and you also like buying a plane ticket to LA, then maybe you will see Tales from the Mists in May at the summer stream. That'll be cool. Speaking of Tales from the Mists, you should watch us tomorrow.
Wait, you're going to be in LA?
Yeah.
In May?
They just announced it today.
Yes.
I think,
Let's hang out.
Yeah, let's hang out. We'll go get ramen. And we'll see if there's any tiny hands that come in a slightly different shade of brown.
Oh, I'll make it happen.
Heck yes.
Tiny hands for everybody. I gave Grant
Heck yes.
tiny hands at PAX.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I was abusing them. I got in trouble a few times for those.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you like Tales from the Mist, you can watch our penultimate episode tomorrow. It has Emma on it. Emma's cool. We like her.
There it goes. I had
Me
Emma
too.
playing on her birthday.
I haven't got her yet. Maybe this week.
Excellent. And Lindsay.
Yeah. Hi. I've never had the teeth falling out dream, but I did have a super awesome heist dream last night. So apparently I like to just elaborately steal things in my sleep. But anyways, yeah, I'm Lindy. You can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I play in /DM about a dozen or so tabletop RPGs a week. Starting on Monday on my channel, there's going to be a new show. I will be playing a middle-aged warlock man. After my mustache and beard came in yesterday, I'm real excited about it. They look great. But yeah, so it's going to be in Exandria, which is, the Critical Role world, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, of course, Spooky Tuesdays on my channel where I DM Call of Cthulhu on a Counter Roleplay, and then Mists the Ravenloft on mine. So all the spoops, all of them.
All of them. There you go. Excellent. And Grant.
Hey everybody, my name's Grant Ellis. I'm a creator for tabletop role-playing games. All of you in chat that said hi to me at PAX East, it was great to meet you all. You can find me next on that show on Saturday. I actually don't think I have a show this Saturday. That'll be next. I'm starting a new Cypher System series on Pro Restarter's channel called Dark Side of Mars, where we're doing a science fiction survival story of a crash-landed spaceship. And the Owl of Lycia, which is a Monte Cook Games other Cypher System game, is returning on the 14th of April. And later this month, we're going to have Jen Vaughn on Gamers and Grant Conversations in Gaming here on WebDM Show. You can catch me here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, both on The Land Between Two Rivers and producing Starward Bound. I actually have a lot of books coming out soon. The TPK Handbook, TPK Bestiary, Villains and Layers 2 on the DM's Guild, and Reach of Titan. So those are 4 that you can buy right away. I was either a contributor or an author on all of those. And that's where you can find me. Follow me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant.
Excellent, excellent. And we really appreciate it, buddy, for coming and hanging out and just joining us in the chat. I do believe we've got some Lost Girls on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed.
Not too many more of those, right? Like there's...
No, I think it ends this month. Maybe we've got like either end of this month or beginning of next month.
All right, so only a little bit longer than that. So check out Lost Girls on Sunday, and then of course we'll be back on Tuesday for some Starward Bound, and next week where this showdown we've kind of been building up to for the last couple of sessions will go down, and we will see what happens to Tangrith, the satiated one, and whether or not the party can pull off this elaborate and I'm just blown away plan. So we really appreciate it, guys, and hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.